I think energy and passion, because that's what it took for me. It took a tremendous amount of energy, and it took a tremendous amount of passion, and that's what I try to share to all the clinics and the kids. You got to give it all you got, and you got to love it. Compete with yourself on a daily basis, playing wall ball, and you get 40 reps in 60 seconds. Next time you're going for 41, 42. So you're always trying to raise your level of intensity and energy. So I try to bring is energy and passion.
Welcome to the Fred Opie Show, where you learn how to make a difference on and off the field. I'm your host, Fred Opie, a former Syracuse University and U.S. national team athlete turned historian. On this show, I use the oral histories of my guests to unpack strategies to make a positive impact in this world. Thank you for taking the time to listen. If you like what you hear on the show, share a link on Facebook or Twitter, or send the link to a friend. If you have a question you want us to address on the show, write me at fdopie@gmail.com. You can find our show archive, blog, suggested reading, and more at fredopie.com. Today on the Fred Opie Show, Casey Powell, a native of Carthage, New York, a Syracuse University and U.S. national team alum and Hall of Famer. We talk about energy and passion, creating a winning culture, getting separation, and Speedball, his newest startup. Casey comes from a community that never had lacrosse before he started playing. He talks about how he and his teammates used to go down to West Genesee High School, hide in the woods, and watch practice and steal plays, and also how they would go and watch Syracuse University lacrosse during the days of Paul and Gary Gate and other great players like Charlie Lockwood. What they created in their hometown of Carthage was a hybrid of lacrosse made up of pickup games in their backyard, the best of West Tennessee and the best of Syracuse University lacrosse under Hall of Famer Roy Simmons Jr. That's today on the Fred Opie Show. Hall of Famer Casey Powell.
I grew up in Carthage, New York, which is 90 miles north of Syracuse, and I played football, where I was a quarterback. I played basketball, where I was a guard, and played lacrosse. I have an older sister, and I have 3 younger brothers, so there's 5 of us total. Gretchen, myself, and then Ryan, Mike, and Mason.
Where did you go on your college visits? What was the recruiting scene like in your experience?
You know, lacrosse was new to Carthage, and there wasn't a lot of action. There was no lacrosse heritage. The varsity program started when I was in 8th grade, and I started playing varsity in 9th grade. So we didn't know a whole lot about recruiting. The word got out. My brothers and I and a player named Jason Kaufman all started to garner some interest nationally. Back then, college coaches would come watch you play in high school, and they would come to your dinner table to talk to your parents about and sharing their the information on their school with you there. And we'd have guys from, Dave Cottle and Carl Runk with Maryland accents, and we didn't travel much, and got to meet a ton of people and put on a lot of dinners throughout the kind of the run we had. One big event was called the Empire State Games, which is the Olympics of New York. They split the state into 6 regions, and they kept 20 lacrosse players from each region, and that was kind of the big event at the time that everybody wanted to be a part of. All the college coaches would go to the Empire State Games and watch. Being successful in high school and as a team, they got to see you play. The college coaches would take some time to see you play later on in the season in the playoffs. And being at lacrosse camp, I used to go to the All-American lacrosse camp when I was young, and there was tons of college coaches that worked there. So the word would get out. They would then, come watch you play in high school, and the Empire State Games was a big stage.
The program starts in your community in 8th grade. I'm trying to figure out how did it garner that much success so early? In my hometown was a guy named Elliot Stark, who was the critical person in getting lacrosse off the ground in Croton-on-the-Hudson. How about in your town?
When I was in 5th grade, our new gym teacher went to Carthage. His name was Kirk Vendiquatro. He brought in a stick to kind of share a lesson that the Native Americans played the game, and that it's a combination of a lot of sports into one. And we were instantly intrigued, and that's how lacrosse was introduced to us. We talked about lacrosse at the dinner table after hearing the lesson in gym class, and A few weeks later, my father showed up with some lacrosse sticks, and my brothers and I were the first in town to have the stick. Caught on, and we played backyard speed lacrosse style and wall ball for about 2 or 3 years, and without really knowing any of the rules. And our guys in our neighborhood showed up, and all of a sudden we had a swell of people that wanted to play lacrosse, and we had a lot of fun doing it with the kids in the neighborhood. And Coach Vinaquatro saw that, hey, this is he was the baseball coach at the time. Hey, this is more my style of sport. A good hard-nosed athlete. We spent a lot of time with a stick in our hands, and we heard about down the road West Genesee being one of the most successful programs, and Syracuse University, and we would go down and hide in the bushes and watch West Genesee practice and write down all their drills.
I love it.
Yeah, and their plays. Their coach Massera was very strict and regimented, and so we took a little bit of that, and then we'd stop over to the Carrier Dome, where it was kind of the opposite. They were behind the backs and between the legs, and they're had a bunch of swagger, and what we did is we kind of meshed the two styles. We practiced regimented, and we pulled our socks up just like West Genesee did, but we were allowed to express ourselves kind of the Syracuse way. It was a great combination. We'd always looked up to the best players, whether it's Larry Bird or Michael Jordan. We wanted to be the best, so we kind of mimicked what the best programs did, and we became successful right away.
You make your first college visit. When do you do it, and where do you go?
Yeah, it was my junior year. It was my second flight I ever took, and it was to Loyola, and on the staff there was Dave Cottle and Dave Petramala and Bill Durgel. So it was quite intimidating, but probably more so for somebody that grew up with lacrosse heritage. I didn't know a whole lot about Dave Petramala other than his reputation as being one of the best. I saw him play maybe once. I remember my parents driving me to Syracuse, and we stopped, and they bought me my first suit, and it was an early morning flight. I put the suit on at the store that we bought it, and I flew down to Maryland. So I was picked up by the coaching staff and brought immediately to practice. And there was another probably 8 recruits there, and of course I'm the only one in a suit. And we're watching practice, and in the middle of practice, Coach Cottle came over and goes, "Hey, Powell, come with me." She brought me into the locker room and gave me a little bit of a tour, and he opened up a locker. My high school number was number 1, and inside the locker was a number 1 jersey, and he basically offered me a full scholarship to come to Loyola, and really overwhelmed and excited. I instantly wanted to go there. So he asked me to have made my decision within 30 seconds. I would have made it. That was my first visit, and then I went to Delaware and Johns Hopkins and UMass, kind of an unofficial visit to Syracuse, where I always wanted to go.
So ultimately, you decided to go to Syracuse because you grew up watching them, or was it something on your unofficial visit that you saw and made you enamored about the campus?
It was a lot of sorting through different things. When I was able to sit back and think about it, fantasize about being a Syracuse lacrosse player in my backyard. Lacrosse is historically a bit territorial, and I always appreciated representing upstate New York and where I was from. And when it came down to it, my style matched up with Syracuse University's. I really admired Coach Simmons' national championship pedigree, and somebody that's been there with his father before him, and the Gate brothers, and it all kind of in the Carrier Dome. So it all kind of added up, and I had the opportunity. So that's what I chose.
So you are in high school when Paul and Gary are juniors or seniors?
4 years older. So I was in early high school when they were, and just started, my trips to the Dome when they were in their prime. 3 national championships in a row. We saw the original Air Gate. I remember going home, and we took an old mattress and put it out back, and we tried to jump, from behind the goal and land on the mattress. and we did it time and time again. They really inspired us to play. We fantasized to be them. I would always be Gary in the backyard. My brother Ryan would always be Paul. And my brother Mike, the youngest, would always be the opposing team's goalie.
Wow. How did you end up wearing Gary's number? It's become such a legacy, but in my mind, a curse as well as a blessing to get that number.
No, it wasn't offered to me in recruiting, but I knew it was available for sure. And obviously the timing was perfect. It was worn by Gary, and Gary wore it for 3 years, and then Charlie Lockwood wore it for 4 and was a 4-time All-American. And I got there in the fall and certainly knew it was open, and I had a great fall. And I just remember one day, a couple weeks into fall ball, Coach Simmons brought me walking through Manley Fieldhouse and said, I dare you to wear number 22 this year. I looked at dare you. Without blinking, I said I'd be honored to wear number 22. And not only did I want to go to Syracuse, but I wanted to be a Gary Gate status. I knew wearing number 22 would put me in that position where I could do what I wanted to be.
What was your major at Syracuse? And how did you go about choosing that?
I wasn't really sure, what I wanted to do or what I wanted to be. Taking a lot of liberal arts classes, trying to figure out, which direction to go in. I really took a liking to psychology and learning about myself and other people, how I react and how other people react to different situations. I really liked that, and it's something that you obviously use every day. The more I was going through college, the more I was planning to someday follow in Coach Simmons' footsteps and be a lacrosse coach.
So you knew early on that you wanted to make lacrosse a full-time occupation.
Never thought of anything else. Loved being around the game, and all my heroes were either lacrosse players or lacrosse coaches. So I wanted to kind of follow in their footsteps.
How did you pay for college?
It was a full scholarship. So my brothers and I were all full scholarship athletes. My parents didn't go to college, and my father worked in a paper mill, and they didn't have money saved for college. These are really amazing opportunities presented themselves. Schools that didn't offer me full scholarship were not considered any longer. I knew we didn't have the funds to pay for that. UMass, Loyola, and Syracuse all offered full scholarships. I keyed on those three as, hey, this is an opportunity for me to go to school for free at these wonderful universities. Because of the hefty scholarship offers, that's what I strongly considered most.
If I made you the Dean of Arts and Sciences at Syracuse, what would you make a required college course before one graduates? You've been out of college now, you know what it's like.
Life skills, balancing your checkbook, what to look for when you plan to get insurance, how to buy a car, how to find the right financial advisor, how to buy your first house. The course that helps prepare you for some of the major decisions that you need to make in life. Definitely a life skill class where you can learn how to live.
Are there particular books that you've read since you've graduated and you said, wow, this would be in my required course?
Recently read a lot of John Gordon books. Talks about hard work, dedication, the way to live your life. To me, those are important. I think books that inspire you to, follow your passion, take chances, and inspire other people along the way. Opening your eyes to different avenues and different paths.
I'm a big John Gordon fan as well. He's also been a guest on this show, so I'm glad that you mentioned his name. The show will be right back. For related content on negotiating the world of school and sports, visit our website at fredopie.com. Check out our podcast archive and review the show on SoundCloud, Stitcher, and iTunes. The best way to support the podcast is to tell a friend, share the show on Facebook and Twitter, or send them to our website at fredopie.com.
Start with your gift. Understand and monetize it while serving others with it. This book is written for the younger version of me. In Start With Your Gift, I help you recognize your gift, select mentors, choose the right school and training, consider childhood wounds in need of healing, identify internships, show you how to select jobs, get your financial house in order, live and give like no one else.
And it's available on Amazon.com as an ebook or paperback.
We have a special offer for those of you who buy the book this month. My Super 7 Guide to Time Management, Public Speaking, and Writing, 7 Habits of Highly Effective Student Athletes. I have The Power, Principles for Thriving in School. What Does It Take to Be a Champion? A 2-part series. These are messages that are exclusive offers for those who buy the book this month. Email us proof of purchase of the book. You can send me a photo of your receipt, or you can cut and paste the receipt into an email, and we will send you an MP3 version of these exclusive messages for free. Download them onto your smartphone and make them part of your automobile, gym, or running university library. You can't beat this offer with a baseball bat. I welcome the opportunity to come and discuss the book with your team, school, and/or organization.
Now back to the show. I couldn't do what you did, and that is you excelled both as an indoor and outdoor player. I played for the New York Saints one year back when they had a team, and my claim to fame was I sat and watched most of the games because I didn't make the travel team.
My first experience with box lacrosse, I graduated from Carthage, and I was invited to move up to Canada for the summer. So I went up to live with a family in Canada and played for the Toronto Beaches. We play, and I'm split dodging and going all over the floor and no success. So that was my first game, and then it took some hard coaching. I remember the coach, which hand are you? Strong right. It was like, keep it in your effing right hand. So then I spent the summer up there, and the toughness of that game really prepared me for my freshman year at Syracuse. I had a great experience up there, and throughout the summers at Syracuse, I would play some games up on the reservation in Akwesasne. My brother and I would travel up there. This is up in Canada, over the northern New York border near the Messina. My only goal as a lacrosse player was to go to Syracuse. I did that. And, this is my dream. This is my goal. I wore number 22. I won national championships. I was the player of the year. And I was drafted by the Rochester Nighthawks to number 1 and started to play, but I wasn't really into it because my dreams had already come true as a lacrosse player. Played it for a couple seasons. Indoor, the floor is smaller, and that's what I had to do. I had to think smaller. My philosophy became I have to work on the accuracy of my shot, so I spent a lot of time on that. It's almost like a basketball player. If you have a great outside shot, it opens up the drive, and that's kind of what it did for me. Is I would either try to shoot from the outside. Once they came out and tried to prevent that, I would either try to get underneath or over the top down the middle. I studied a lot of film. I had great coaches. I had some great players around me, helped open things up for me. That's when I really started to become successful and feel really comfortable with the indoor game. I love box lacrosse.
It sounds like you were a student of the game and you worked extremely hard. I love the analogy that you gave. It is very similar to basketball, but also very similar to football. If you got a great running game, then you're going to develop a great passing game. If you're an outside shooter, you develop that, then you've developed the ability to go to the hoop. But if you're one-dimensional in any sport, you're not going to go anywhere is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a great point. You need to have a couple things in the bag, and you can't rely on always what you're good at. Coaches see what you can do, and they will try to develop a strategy to shut that down. So if you have nothing left, then you'll continue to be shut down. If you can develop more and or a different side of your game, then that's how you become successful.
How many U.S. national teams did you play on?
I played on the 1998 U.S. national team and the 2006 U.S. national team. And then indoor, I played on the 2011 and 2015.
What do you think it takes to make a U.S. national team?
As you start to progress as a player, you strive for the best of the best. Am I going to be one of the top 20 players in the country. The influence of playing other sports. It took my dedication towards practice. It took my passion for training and the love of lacrosse in between practices that separated me from the rest of the pack. I loved being in the backyard and shooting around with my brothers and my neighbors. And every game, whether it was a backyard, 3-on-3 game or what, was huge. Even national championship game in Birch Stadium wasn't that much more exciting than it was playing in my backyard. Fantasized about being in the big game. It was a combination of kind of those things, is, working really hard, but having lots of fun doing it, putting in a lot more time than most people had.
I read a book by John Maxwell not that long ago that really impressed me, and it reminds me of what you just said. If I were to read between the lines, and the title of the book is More Than Talent. I heard you say several times the things you did between practices, between games. Tell me about what are some of those things that people don't necessarily know about Casey Powell. They just see your game, admire your game, and in some ways they just think, oh, it's genetics.
First of all, my parents didn't really play sports. My dad claims he was really fast. Never really saw them play sports, or nor did they, so there wasn't a whole lot of a genetic pass-through. I have good size and strength. I had no idea where I would go with the game and how successful I would end up being. What separated me, my love for it, my opportunity every day to enjoy the game. I was fanatical about it. I'd be walking through school and I'd run up the stairs. And I'd do that because in practice, there's only, so much time that I could try to outwork the players around me and prepare for games. So I had to find other times to do that. I would jump side to side over sidewalk, work on my east-west explosion. I would dodge trees. I would try to get up before my brothers and hit the wall, and then they'd see me out there and come over, and then the next day Ryan would get up before me, so I'd go over there and try to stay longer before the bus picked us up. And healthy competition with my brother and I to always try to compete and to get in more reps. We understood at an early age that the more time you put into it, the more success that you'll have, and we enjoyed that. We loved training.
You are one of many lacrosse entrepreneurs that I have interviewed, but if you think about what makes you successful off the field, what's your gift?
I think energy and passion. That's what I try to bring everywhere I go, because that's what it took for me. It took a tremendous amount of energy, and it took a tremendous amount of passion, and that's what I try to share to all the clinics and the kids. You got to give it all you got, and you got to love it. Compete with yourself on a daily basis, playing wall ball, and you get 40 reps in 60 seconds. Next time you're going for 41, 42. So you're always trying to raise your level of intensity and energy. That's what I try to bring, is energy and passion.
Why did you decide to launch what you call Speed Lacrosse as a lacrosse startup?
I kind of reflected back on my career, my brother's career, and tried to think, why were we so successful? Why were we, National Player of the Year, and why were we successful in pro? And, what was the differentiating factor? And the majority of it was what we did in our backyard, no doubt about it. And we played a style of lacrosse, speed lacrosse. It's 3-on-3. We played it without pads. It's constant 3-on-2s back and forth. And we had made up a set of rules that allowed us to play. It was pickup lacrosse, a way for us to be able to play without having to sign up for a big fancy club team, go play on a full field. The speed lacrosse court is 40 yards long by 20 yards wide. It's about the same size as my backyard. Speed lacrosse is representative of what I did growing up, and a key to my success as a player. It was fun, it was fast, it was developmental. The ball was in my stick all the time. I was playing offense and defense. And aside from all those great developmental aspects, it's easy to play. Kids in the neighborhood would show up and who had never played, or a cousin would come from out of town and, hey, this is lacrosse, you want to play? Here's a stick. And he'd come in, and all of a sudden, 15 minutes later, he's now a lacrosse player. What I like about it is it gives kids an opportunity, gives people an opportunity to play as a lifestyle. And that's what I want to continue to do. I want to continue to play it. I want more people to be able to try the game, to use it as developmental. So when we play it currently, we play it as hard as we can and as fast as we can, just like we always have. It's always helping us progress as players and to play at a higher speed.
What's something you mapped out in your business plan when developing Speedball as a startup that afterwards you realize, I didn't expect this?
The amount of people that are reaching out to us that are like, oh, this is nice. We learned from U.S. Lacrosse that 40 to 50% of their membership drops at when the kids get to high school. The whole system of lacrosse is geared up to be into playing college, and everybody has their eyes set on college. Enjoy the moment, enjoy the now, enjoy today's game, and the rest will kind of take care of itself. Speed lacrosse, what we're finding out, can be a way for people that aren't going to play in college to continue playing lacrosse, continue to staying involved in the game. It's one thing we're learning is, it's a great way for a kid to start playing the game, but it's also great for potentially a high schooler or college intramurals to continue staying involved in playing the game without full commitment to some of the other offerings like box and field lacrosse.
I also love the idea that you don't have the startup money needed for playing regular lacrosse. It's, why has soccer thrived? Why has basketball thrived? There's very little financial threshold to keep people from playing. Would you say that's the same with speed lacrosse?
Absolutely. I wanted speed lacrosse to be how it was for me growing up. We didn't wear gloves. We didn't wear eyewear. We used a soft ball. All we needed was a stick. It's 3-on-3, so we usually have 4 or 5 guys on a team. If you have, a set of 10 sticks, then you can play a lot of kids can play a lot of lacrosse.
If you could have dinner with 3 people, dead or alive, who would they be and why?
Ooh. Certainly Roy Simmons Jr., Roy Simmons Sr., and it'd be fun to be sitting next to Wayne Gretzky. I like what he's done. Wayne Gretzky, to me, has a similar story where he grew up very modestly and spent a lot of time on his back pond and had a fantasy himself. The Simmons legacy is they were just, they're incredible men. Aside from lacrosse, I'd love to be more and more like them when it's all said and done in terms of the respect they have from so many people.
Casey, how has your diet and workout changed since that first semester at Syracuse?
I didn't know much about nutrition and fitness, leading up to it. Never really talked about it all that much at home or even at Syracuse. But when I got to Syracuse and started taking nutrition classes, and you start to learn a little bit more about it. I've always tried to drink a lot of water, try to have a well-rounded diet. I always try to get a workout in every day. Water and a well-balanced diet, and being active has been my key to my longevity.
What's your typical type of workout now?
I like to jog. It is getting harder. I always work on my first step explosion, cone drills, and things like that. Currently do a workout called Beachbody, which is a 30-minute workout a day. You watch it on your phone, have a shake. I've really enjoyed that. Pick your whether you want to work your upper body, your lower body, your cardio, yoga, stuff like that. Pick your workout for the day. It's 30 minutes, so I get that done, and then I try to do something active, like go out and shoot some hoops or shoot around, play speed lacrosse, or take a jog.
Casey, when is the last time that you cried and why?
Last time I cried was my Hall of Fame induction ceremony, and I cried all weekend. My family was there. As I was told about my induction, I instantly thought back to all the great times and all the support I've had from them. Crying in joy and in celebration of such a great journey that I've had, and hearing Coach Simmons' presentation at the Hall of Fame, it was hard to hold back the tears as well. Tears of joy, felt very lucky and fortunate to have such wonderful people around me.
A hearty congratulations on that induction.
Thank you very much. Unbelievable to know that, hey, I'm one of the best. All the time that I put in, look back to join the Hall of Fame, the National Hall of Fame, the biggest honor in our sport, is certainly humbling, but makes me proud to represent everything I've been a part of, whether it's my family or Carthage or Syracuse or Team USA and all the pro teams and coaches that I've played for.
Final question, Casey. You have just found out that you have 3 months to live, and you're going to create a videotape that will be played at your memorial service. We'll put it in the carriage and we'll make it a big time service. To live life to the greatest, to get the most out of it, to have an impact. What are 3 things that you would share with the people attending your memorial service?
Whew, that's deep. That's deep. I would have to say to give back as much as you can. The more you give back, the more I've always gotten. I would say to give back. I love going out on the road and being in front of new groups and having a great evening of lacrosse. Love your family and your friends as much as you possibly can and spend as much time with them. And have fun. Have a great time. Laugh and smile and joke around.
Casey, thank you so much. I'm glad that we were able to get together and do this. I'm excited about letting people know more about you, your journey, the people who have supported you along the way. I want players to hear the hard work that I heard in what you shared with me.
Thanks for having me on, and thanks for all that you do, getting the word out.
That's a wrap for this show. Thanks for listening. To hear more content like it, go to fredopie.com. This show could have been brought to you by your company. If you have questions about advertising and sponsoring this show, contact us at fdopie@gmail.com. That's fdopie@gmail.com. I've been a college professor for 17 years, and I've been teaching online courses for the last 5 years. I will be teaching. It's a 5-day, 2-hour each day mini winter online course. Don't know what you want to do after you graduate? Take the course. Hate school? Take the course. Feel unfulfilled on your job or in school? Take the course. Don't know how to choose a major? You've been offered a scholarship or admissions, early admissions at a school, and you are clueless about what you're going to major in? Take the course. This is a course to help you make an impact on and off the field and help you find a vocation. That is a job that feels like a vacation. It's the course that I wish I had taken when I was younger. I share some of the biggest school and career mistakes that people make so that you don't have to make them. This is what we will be covering in the course, which is based on my new book, Start With Your Gift. We'll teach you how to recognize your gift, identify mentors, understand college career myths, choose your right major, degree, and or certificate program. We'll help you identify what you need to do and what you need to avoid. We'll help you select a job, pivot from one job to a new one, start a business, get you financially in shape, and we will teach you how to play, work, live, and give like no one else. It's a